My name is Jack Turner, and one thing I've learned living out here is that access is everything. You can have the nicest houses, the cleanest streets, the strictest rules, but if you don't control how people get in and out, you don't control anything. Silver Creek Estates never understood that, or maybe they just assumed they did. My cabin sits on the north side of my land, deeper than most people bother to go. It's quiet out there. No noise, no traffic, just trees and a narrow gravel road that winds its way through the property before connecting to the main county road. That road runs entirely through my land, always has, long before Silver Creek Estates was even built. When the developers came in years ago, they didn't have direct access to the main road. The only practical route was mine. So an agreement was made back then, temporary access, informal use, nothing permanent. But like most things with HOAs, temporary slowly turned into assumed, and assumed turned into theirs. For a while I didn't push it. People used the road, came and went, no real issues, until Karen Whitfield decided it was time to formalize control. It started with a letter, unauthorized gate structure, HOA violation. I remember reading that sitting on my porch, looking straight at the gate they were talking about. My gate, on my land, at my cabin road. I didn't respond, because I already knew where this was going. A few days later, Karen showed up, clipboard in hand, same tone as always. That gate needs to be removed or modified, she said. I leaned back in my chair. Why? It restricts HOA access. I almost smiled. It's not your access to control. She didn't like that. This road is used by our residents. Used, I said, not owned. She ignored that completely. If you don't comply, we'll take action. I nodded slowly. Go ahead. And that's exactly what she did. A week later I drove out toward the cabin and noticed something strange before I even reached it. The road felt off, too quiet. No passing cars, no movement. When I reached the gate, I saw why they had sealed it. Heavy chain, industrial lock, and a bright notice attached. HOA enforcement, restricted access. I stepped out of the truck and just looked at it for a moment. Because this wasn't just overstepping, this was control. On land they didn't own. But what made it worse was what they didn't realize. That road didn't just lead to my cabin. It was the only way in and out of Silver Creek Estates from that side. And due to recent construction on their main entrance, it had quietly become their primary route. They just hadn't thought it through. Or maybe Karen hadn't told them. Either way, they had just sealed their own access. I didn't remove the chain, not immediately. Instead, I turned around and drove back toward the main road. And I waited. It didn't take long. By mid-morning, the first signs of confusion started. Cars lining up near the blocked gate, residents getting out, trying to figure out what was going on. Some thought it was temporary. Others started realizing something wasn't right. By noon, it turned into frustration because the alternate route they relied on, still under construction, limited, slow, not built for full traffic, and now, their controlled road was completely unusable. Karen showed up not long after. She walked up to the gate, saw the situation, and then turned toward me. You need to open this, she said. I shook my head. You locked it. That was enforcement. No, I said calmly. That was interference. She gestured toward the line of cars building up behind her. You're causing a traffic issue. I looked past her at the road. No, you are. Her expression tightened. This is our access road. I let that sit for a second. Then I said it clearly. No, it's mine. That's when it finally hit her. Not fully, but enough, because for the first time, she realized she didn't actually control the situation. By early afternoon, things escalated. Residents were calling the HOA, complaints piling up, delivery trucks stuck, emergency services questioning the access routes, because now, this wasn't just inconvenient, it was a problem, a real one. The county arrived shortly after. They reviewed everything, the gate, the chain, the property lines, and then they asked Karen the question she couldn't answer. Do you have authority to restrict this access? She hesitated. And that was enough, because hesitation means no. The officials made it clear. The gate was on my land, the road was on my land, and any restriction placed by the HOA was unauthorized. They ordered the chain removed immediately. Not by me, by them. Karen stood there as the lock was cut, as the chain dropped, as access was restored, not because she allowed it, but because she never had the right to take it. And that wasn't the end of it. Because once the county got involved, they looked deeper, at the road usage, at the dependency, at how the HOA had been relying on something they didn't own, and that's when the bigger issue came out. Silver Creek Estates didn't have a legally secured primary access route. They had been using mine, assuming it would always be there. That discovery changed everything, because now, it wasn't just about one mistake. It was about a system built on something unstable. The HOA was forced to take action, rework their access planning, invest in proper infrastructure, and deal with the consequences of relying on land they didn't control. Karen stepped down not long after. Same ending, different story. As for me, I left the gate exactly where it was. But this time, I made one thing clear. Access wasn't automatic anymore. It was controlled, defined, and respected. Because sometimes people don't understand the value of something until they lose it. Now, When I sit on my porch and watch that road stretch out across the land, it's quiet again. No confusion, no assumptions, just a simple road, leading exactly where it's supposed to. And every now and then, I think about the day Karen sealed my gate, because what she didn't realize was simple. When you try to control someone else's access, you better be sure you don't depend on it yourself, because if you do, you might be the one who ends up locked out.